So you don't just do the work. You know the things that save lives. So you also help with personal connection for those who just need someone to hold their hand during rough day. Okay? And so now that brings me to tell my first story, our both of that. So I used to work with a PSW named Linda. Okay? So Mrs. E was arrested with mid-stage dementia. She stopped eating. She couldn't get out of the bed. She was non-verbal. So doctors ordered clever. Nurses tried new routines. But Linda, she just sat next to her and said gently, "Would you like a hug before we start today?" And Mrs. E leaned toward her arms, and for the first annual week, she smiled. Then slowly she got up and followed Linda to the dining room. That wasn't in any campaign. That was just the heart. That was PSW industry. So I always believe when I work with PS until I eat, I will say at least 80% I believe what they said. Because I know there are my guys and peers. They told me what happened with Dr. Results. So there's another story that I had. It was a during the bath for the PSW Joseph noticed a small blister on his diabetics constant that was present. So he actually has a history. He didn't know whether she report or not, didn't want to go his something from. But anyway, he did tell me in advance, the little blister on toe. So I went to see it, and guess what? It starts swelling. And I know it's infected. And so what I realized was that I talked to the doctor, and I sent it to the hospital. That's why I'm so glad we found it early, and that resident avoided an amputation. Just for that work. So it was a small observation, like changed the outcome completely. That's the power of paying attention. So there's another story I really want to share. Yes, in the long-term care, you see a lot of funds for palliative care. It could be 1 year up to 6 months. Oh, so I worked with the PSW race. So not really big. So there's a guy who is actually used to be a palliative care for almost 2 years, but suddenly she stopped this, and we know something going on. And after 1 day, she was basically just picking up. We know the sunset starts instead of black here. So transition from current to the end of decade. So this Lenny Grace has she been right here with the resident for a long time. Okay, almost I would say at least 7 years. And the residents case are lady the states. So they know we call them, and they try to beating on my doctor whereas come over, and for some reason the delay it was waste, and the plan was canceled. I'm not so sure. So Grace was set beside the rest inside and held her hand, and somebody said prayers. She did very for the arrested before she really know where to leave down in a lobby. Okay, so the faculty later said that we didn't make in time, but we are grateful she wasn't alone. The PSW was an engine. So the PSW are not just presenting life, the actual was the who walk with people it does. So you will see that when you work it on time care. And I wanted to forget that was the best moment ever. Is the family will send us the car, they get us the flowers. It was really appreciated we get that. By the time they got here, it was a by car was half in the body. You see, yeah. Anyway, so this is in the institution of long-term care, and now we talk about this the family. So you had to learn adapt that briefly. So one home has cultural traditions you respect, another has memory challenges you gently work around. So sometimes you will say, I don't want you doing it. No, I'm not. I just want you to sit there. Says lesson to one that I said. You know why? Because their kids live really far. Nobody talked to them. The cookie
the clinic there. So yes, but there's no one who was sick that a message.
Right? So so yes, and sometimes well, it's somebody's part of it is next plan I send a podcast and run you for you, right? So and meanwhile this lady still called. So anyway, so what happened was in the long-term care, in the home care, you do prepare meal physically. So tidy the house, organize the medications, and the most importantly, you choose the building institution. You task oriented. They lay down bird, right? So you work as teacher. So it's totally different working schedule. But because in the home care, you get a chance to get to know the person. You're doing 1 hour, so you have lots time to get. And then that's why you can maintain the independence and dignity. Okay. But often you are the only human contact a senior may have all day long. I noticed. So I shared it with the PSW. Let's call the name SA. So he was doing a fundraiser as well. And he is crying for just a while. Was recovering from a bus mistake and living too alone. His family lived hours at work. And so they cooked up the rice and soup. And then he cleaned the kitchen, folded the laundry, and sat down beside Mr. Wang to chat. The best part was that he left a voice message on WhatsApp for Mr. Wang's daughter because the one lives away and she couldn't supervise and had the chance to see the father. But because they left the message, that was only like 20 cents message, but the family really appreciated thinking that, at least I know what did you do to my dad, and I know he's safe. So the immediate patient with PSWD. Okay? So sometimes your role in the home care, you will feel like you care for the whole family. So this is how I think it. People think of PSW just to follow a care plan, but you are observers. You are detectives. You notice when seniors gate changes, and you spot the blues and ask how it happened. So you can tell when someone is off, when they don't say a word. Your calm voice can prevent a panic attack. So, and your presence can mean anything to someone who has no. Have you noticed that in the last year, there's lots of elderly, they don't have family. They're alone. You don't even have the relatives. I used to talk to those guys that have been in the home that I managed. He's been here for 1 and 8 years. You know what he said? He said, my family is here. And he means the staff, even nurses, TS, that all considered as his brand. That's what he said. It's so meaningful and so powerful. So, as a nurse, I want to say this clearly. Many times, a PSW has noticed something before I did. A rash, a changing appetite, a small shift in someone's behavior. So their attentiveness has prevented emergencies, caught infections early, and saved lives. So PSWs aren't just supporting our patient, they are supporting us too, the nurses. You are essential partners in care. I cannot work with you guys, that's for sure, and I always say that. So you make our jobs possible. You make residents feel seen. You make families feel safe. You help us to be better nurses, be a better teams, better people. So I know the challenges too. Don't get me wrong. When I managed long-term care, that was 160. I had the staff 325. So it's full-time, part-time, casual. And plus had agency as well. So I know the challenges. And the staffing is always a common. Okay? And the physical strength, because you work on your back, right? You position yourself. Sometimes you rush to do things, probably forgot your posture and make hurt your back. So you have the emotional fatigue, right? You are a human being. You have your own family. You have your kids. You are the mother. right? You may have elderly parents as well. So you come here to work for the seniors. You'll have emotional fatigue. Everyone had to have. Okay. So being asked to do too much was too you. Remember that, okay, how can I work that? I haven't looked, that's not that, right? That's it. So, and sometimes not being seen, not being heard, not being sexed. So you did too much for this family. I never heard the families they thank you, right? Instead, they're always complaining, right? So, but today, you are being seen, you are being heard, okay? Especially I want to say is after COVID. And I said, not saying the COVID bad set. I mean, as always, COVID caused lots of people's lives. But I have seen a huge change, in my almost 20 years nursing career. So what I see is people start changing. And what they change is that they actually are changing for good, for better. And I see the government focus on the PSW now. You think about all free courses we pay, right? And pay your guys to attend this class. The certificate course. In class that they also offer the $3 is permanent now. It used to be temporary, right? Become a permanent. So this is because why? Because you made the people's life different. They realize that how important you are. Okay? So let me be clear. PSW work is not unskilled. I never say if someone tell you you're unskilled, that was so wrong. But don't just ignore it. I'm not saying to Ali escape on okay. So it takes skill to lift someone without hurting someone, right? It takes emotional intelligence to calm someone with dementia. It takes cultural sensitivity to serve clients of all backgrounds. It takes clinical knowledge, physical strength, and courage. So you are professionals. Okay? It's not just the training, it's the attitude. It's the PSW who hums a tune while doing wound care. So who learns a few words in client's first language? Who comes back after death to attend funeral? So who laughs, who listens, who stays? So when someone asks me, who do PSWs do on a daily basis? I say this. They give care, comfort, and courage. They don't just work in their heads. They work with their heart. So they are the ones who sit with the dying, laugh with the lonely, and stand beside those who cannot stand alone. To all the PSW in this room, you are not invisible. You are not just anything. You are essential. You are powerful. And you are deeply appreciated. So thank you for everything you do. So that's about video. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying.